going. So question 3.
What kind of media institution might distribute your media product? One media institution I researched was Future Publishing. It's a multi-award-winning international media group with over 57 million customers per month from all around the world. Their magazines include Computer Arts, Comic Heroes, SFX and Imagine FX, and much more.
Do you think those are sort of similar to your magazine then?
In terms of like the creative side and things like with concept art and such like. Another one I researched was Bauer Publishing. Bauer Media is a smaller part of the mother company, Bauer Media Group, which is Europe's largest private-owned publishing group. Over 300 magazines in 15 different countries, as well as online TV and radio stations. They have sub-brands in magazines like Empire, Q and 4Music for music channels. Who will publish my magazine? I think Bauer Media will be the most likely publishing house to produce my magazine because they produce both Empire and Q, which are 2 points where my magazine sits halfway directly between them. Multimedia platforms. Bauer own IGN. They use a YouTube channel to get most of their content out to the general public. App stores use things like making magazines available, such as Empire and Q. Older people are getting more into technology as the technology progresses along with their age, which is a large selection of my target audience.
Okay. Older people are a large section of your target audience, you mean? Do you mean older people are in your target audience?
Yeah, there's generally an older age bracket in my target audience.
Okay.
Distribution methods. Print is the most conventional sense, almost every magazine uses it, which is the advantage of it is being most people still prefer to go out and buy physical magazines. Disadvantage is it takes a while to branch out past your immediate area, requires shipping and postage costs, and it costs more issue to print than any other method. Apps. The advantage to apps is that it's accessible to approximately 19.8% of the worldwide population. There are 1.4 billion smartphones active currently. It's a massive market with great potential for my magazine. The disadvantage is that there's still a large percentage of the world that cannot access it.
Would you make yours free or payable? Or?
Mine would probably be free for the first issue and then another subscription based after that.
Okay. And why do you think it's good to have a mixture of ways of getting your magazine out there, like print and apps and music and stuff?
Say if somebody lives in the countryside and they have a tablet like an iPad, that means that they can get the magazine without actually having to take a trip into the nearest town. Okay. So they can access the magazine from anywhere.
Yeah, so it's more easily accessible. Yeah. Lovely, thank you. So go through question 4 now. Okay, when you're ready.
Who would be the audience for your immediate product? My audience is, my target audience for my music magazines are generally the higher educated and generally older groups. I chose them because I thought they'd be the groups that would react the best to a magazine of the genre. They sit in the Succeeders group mainly, in the Young Rubicons group chart, because they generally choose to look beyond just the visual aspects of a film. They generally prefer to go into subject areas that are more specialised, like soundtracks or the special effects and such like. Aspirers would also be likely to purchase the magazine mainly for educational purposes, so they could get a degree and then move on to a job in the field, so then they become the Succeeders. I don't think there's much of a mainstreamers or a pop culture following for soundtracks, movies, or games, or even theatrical soundtracks. That's why I think my magazine will be more of a specialist item and will sell for higher prices if labelled as a journal or a magazine.
So you want it to be more exclusive, really?
Yeah.
Got it.
In terms of socio-economic groups, they generally sit between A and C1, mainly middle class, because the higher educated groups in society, they have university degrees, high-end qualifications and cultural backgrounds. Their perception of music and films is much more evolved compared to people from C2 and E. It isn't necessarily true as people who may be currently studying at college or university for a degree in film studies would definitely be interested in the magazine, yet their socio-economic group would be somewhere around D2E. The socio-economic chart isn't necessarily right for identifying the target audiences because students technically are in the lower brackets, but it depends on their home life what socio-economic groups they actually sit in. Do I fit into this target audience? I'd like to think that I'm currently in the Aspirers group. I aspire to become a succeeder.
Do you think with your audience, you've kind of got like a high bracket, which is older people that are like A to C, and then like a young E kind of bracket?
Yeah.
Was it quite difficult having those two that are quite far apart?
It's in a way it's quite difficult, but the people who will be reading it that are in the bracket of E would want to be in the bracket of A to C one, so that'd be the sort of like literature that they'd be interested in reading.
Okay.
So it'd be pretty easy for them to pick it up.
So you can target them with the same stuff,
Yeah.
basically. Okay, lovely.
Which one's the next one?
Question 6.
What have you learnt about technologies from the process of constructing this product? Photoshop and InDesign work. Having had previous experience with Photoshop and InDesign, it gave me a chance to develop my skills further in the programs. WordPress. Using WordPress for the first time was rather tricky, as there are several buttons that do the same thing and menus that take you a complicated way around things rather than a straightforward thing. I wouldn't personally use WordPress again because I prefer the format of blog sites such as Tumblr. PowerPoint. I've not really learnt anything new in terms of my use of PowerPoint and the knowledge. Again, I've just been rekindling some of my skills that I've not used in a few years. Photography. After years of photography on my current camera, there wasn't anything during my current project that I learnt about the photography. Again, I just reused knowledge and skills I already had. Did I find anything tricky or easy? Generally, all of the production process was really easy and was all reliant on skills I already use day to day. The only thing that was tricky was the concept art because I'd never done anything like it before. Also, the user interface of WordPress was tricky to get used to and work around.
Would you do that type of concept art again?
Yeah, because it was like the sort of style of physical art I do, but just in forms of concept art for the computer.
Yeah.
How important is good technology in the magazine industry? Good technology is crucial to the industry as is just as crucial as good literacy and good grammar. It's imperative that you stay on top of all of the new software techniques and marketing strategies, otherwise you could be left behind rather quickly. What tips would I give to new students? Would be definitely to use Pinterest and blogs for inspiration as it helps to get the creative juices flowing. You might learn the shortcuts for Photoshop and InDesign and even Microsoft programs like Word and PowerPoint. It helps to get a practical and theory work done a lot faster. Talk to people from the industry, get hints and tips for what you're doing, so they might be able to inform you of shortcuts and like little cheat ways of going around things, but just turn out just as good. The internet isn't the only resource. Use libraries. They're often the best place because they allow you to sit in a quiet area and concentrate on books and work easily and take away all distractions.
Lovely. Thank you very much.